Here's something that makes my blood boil. A California bill has just passed that requires that parents affirm their child's gender transition, hormone surgery, puberty blockers, or else they could lose the custody of the child to the other parent, or the state could take the child away. Welcome back to the JP Reacts channel, my beautiful freedom-loving friend, where we like to call out the lies, hypocrisy, corruption of tyrants, shine the light of awareness on woke absurdities, and highlight the amazing work of other freedom fighters. The culmination of tyrants, woke absurdities, and anti-freedom fighters, it's all found pretty well in the California government. California, you heard it at the beginning, as you can see here, California passes bill requiring parents to affirm kids' gender transitions. Say you have a little boy, the kid says, guess what, mom and dad, I'm a girl. This bill requires that the parents affirm them. Now affirm in this case, it doesn't just mean like, yeah, you go girl, or you are a girl. And by the way, that would be insane. It's compelled speech, it's compelled activities, and it's lunacy because you're affirming the child's imagination as though it's reality. Some would say that's mentally unstable, because it is. But no, this bill doesn't stop there. You have to affirm your child's gender imagination with surgery, hormone blockers, puberty blockers, basically whatever the child says they need. You know, we're talking well-developed brains here. We're talking like an 8-year-old. Their brain's fully formed. They're an adult, just kind of. So whatever the child feels as though they need to affirm their identity, their gender identity. By the way, they usually need a lot of stuff because they're not that gender. So they need to do a lot of convincing. Let's do some hormonal convincing. Can we slice this off? Let's castrate me. Let's get a sculptor, give them the knife and make me a little girl, mommy. So this bill requires that the parents do that. And if the parents don't do that, they're in jeopardy of losing the child. 2 ways. One, if there's a custody dispute, the judge is supposed to take this into consideration and be like, well, that parent who's not affirming the child, that's abusive. They're not looking out for the child's safety, well-being, their welfare. So in other words, it's abusive to not subject your child to the abuse of genital mutilation. So one parent's not affirming the gender, so the judge can automatically award custody to the other parent who's willing to do these atrocities. Yikes. But there's also language that says the state can take the child. Let's take a look at a quick couple specifics before I start screaming. The California State Assembly passed a bill on Friday that would require judges in child custody cases to consider whether a parent has affirmed a child's gender transition by making gender affirmation an equal part of a child's health, safety, and welfare under state law. Well, you know, some would say this gender affirmation, it is detrimental to the child's health, safety, and welfare, because it is. Democratic lawmakers bill AB 957. Oh, shocker. It was a Democrat bill. That's weird. By the way, just so you know, these same Democrat lawmakers want you to abort your child before it's born. They want you to kill it before it's born. We want you to kill your children. But you can trust us on this. We know this is the best thing for your child. This new bill, you know, you got to definitely affirm your children. This is the best thing for the children. Trust us. We have your child's best interest at heart, but we wish you would have killed your child. The California Senate passed the bill Wednesday, 30-9, also along party lines. Shocker. Governor Gavin Newsom, a Democrat, we know that, thanks for spelling that out for us, is expected to sign the bill into law. Under it, parents who refuse to participate in transgenderism by pretending, I like the way this is written by the Daily Signal, parents who refuse to participate in transgenderism by pretending that their child is a different gender could be guilty of failing to provide for the health, safety, and welfare of the child, therefore losing custody to another parent or the state. Gee, criminy. Let me ask you this question. If a kidnapper came up to you in the park, child's on the swing, and said, hey, I want you to go load your child up in my van, okay? You probably wouldn't do it. If there's some sort of evil demanding that you do something to your child that is in fact evil, do you think there's a point in time where you stop consenting, where you say no? Now, what if the kidnapper who's making these demands has a smile on his face? Yeah, he's a well-dressed guy, you know, slick back hair, no mask at the French Laundry, that kind of thing. Looks like a good guy. He's telling you he's a good guy. And he's telling you it's in the best interest of your child for you to go put them in my van. And in fact, if you don't put your child in my van with no windows, that's child abuse. Would you have enough sense as a parent to even at that say, absolutely not? Because that's where we're at. Yet we go, well, this is the lawmakers, this is the state, it's Gavin Newsom, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. And I would dare say what they're wanting to do to children, what they're wanting to compel you to do to children under the threat of them taking your child away from you, which, by the way, there's no greater threat to a parent. That's the worst thing you can do to a parent. They're trying to get you to do this to your child under the threat of taking your children away. But they're telling you it's for the child's best interest. They're telling you you're the abuser if you don't do this. Well, they're lawmakers. Yeah, it's the same thing, but worse. It's the devil masquerading as an angel in disguise. The kidnapper doesn't come up and say, hey, I'm a kidnapper, I'm here to do evil stuff to your kid. As a parent, you realize when there's evil that wants to be done to your child, it doesn't announce itself that way. It doesn't say, hey, I'm evil and I'm here to hurt your child. Are you going to let me? The devil masquerades as an angel in disguise. The evil shows up and says, hey, I'm here to do good things to your child. You better let me, or else you're the bad guy. So there comes a point in time where parents have to stop waiting for permission and absolutely take control of their children's safety, their well-being. And that point in time is now. This California BS bill, parents in California, they can't just sit around waiting for someone to give them some kind of permission slip out of this. They can't sit around waiting, well, we gotta get other lawmakers to undo this law. No, this is the time for parents to absolutely take a stand, refuse to comply. Well, there's the threat. Yeah, it's a threat from evil so that evil can be done to your children. They're targeting parents with this bill so that their children can be made easier targets. There's no question in my mind that this is nothing but pure evil, and the evil is masquerading as an angel, but it is in fact evil. I found this pretty interesting. Click over here to Twitter. Dr. Anastasia Maria Lupus posted something I thought was pretty interesting. Due to extreme amounts of LGBT propaganda, gotta add the Q in there. We still don't know what the hell Q is, what that word actually means, but you gotta include the Q. Also two-spirit. I feel like a two-spirit. I'm a two-spirit. So due to extreme amounts of LGBT propaganda, we are now seeing a 15,000% rise in castration, sterilization, and mutilation clinics for children. 15,000% rise in these clinics since 2007. Here you can see the visual of it. I think the wrong paradigm to think about this is the supply is meeting the demand, as tends to happen in honest capitalism. This, my friends, is not honest capitalism. It is dishonest evil using the facade of capitalism to propagate itself. It is creating a demand to meet the supply that you want to sell. By no means do I think this gender indoctrination that's resulted in a 15,000% higher supply in mutilation clinics than there used to be. In no way do I think this is just about the money. I do think there are some motivated by money. I think money is one of the motivators in this. Hey, if you, by the way, bring your 7-year-old in, bring them in early, because the sooner you bring them in, the sooner they become a lifelong customer of ours. Because guess what? We have to do unnatural things to their body, and they're in fact so unnatural, their natural physiology will be fighting in the opposite direction than what we're trying to do. So they're going to be a lifelong customer. They're always going to need these hormones. They're always going to, if something went wrong with the surgery, we got to do another, bring them in. Make sure that check cashes, bro. I guarantee it's not just about the money. I think there is an absolute attempt to destroy humanity. I think there's an absolute attempt to weaken humanity. And part of that is capturing children, capturing their minds, capturing them physically, making children into this weakened state, making children extremely confused, disconnecting them from their power. Here's this for disempowering someone. What if you can convince someone that who they are is something that they're not? Your power comes from who you are. And And the more aware you are of who you are, which is a journey, not a destination, self-realization takes a while. But the more you can convince someone that who they are is something that they're not, the more disconnected from their power they are, because who you are is your source of power. So if you can convince someone that they are their gender, you have just convinced them to think that they are something that they're not. But you can even get more disempowering. If you convince them that they are their gender, but you convince them that they are a wrong gender, you then have a very disempowered person. And I do think that is absolutely part of what's going on. I think the disempowerment of humanity, weakening humanity, controlling humanity, and in this case, capturing people while they're young, children, disempowering them while they're young, weakening them while they're young, and weakening them in a permanent state, both psychologically and physically. I think that is absolutely a part of the primary agenda with the gender ideology, which is controlling people. But the only question is, are you someone who's going to let it happen, or are you someone who is not going to let it happen? You and I get to answer that question for ourselves. And with that said, my freedom-loving friends, this has not been a beautiful news update, yet this is an update, something I think we need to be aware of, because if things like this, what California is doing with this bill, if we're not aware of them and if we don't call them out, it spreads. So thank you for paying attention to this with me. Thank you for being on Team Humanity with me. And thank you for being someone who is extremely interested in protecting the innocent, protecting our children, their bodies and their minds, because they need it. And that responsibility is on our shoulders. So with that said, I'll look forward to seeing you on our next video. But before that, I want to tell you about something. Summer, or actually any holiday season, is a delightful time, isn't it? It's a time to take a break from the daily grind and live life to the fullest. However, all the fun aside, a lot of our health routines get thrown off track with late nights, irregular eating habits, and indulgences. So though it might not be easy when vacation season is done, it's time to get back on track with our health. If you're someone who struggles to get back on track, I have a tip for you. Focus on the majors: healthy eating, exercise, and above all else, high quality sleep. One interesting fact about sleep to mention: studies show that 2 servings of alcohol for men and 1 serving of alcohol for women can reduce sleep quality by 39%. And that's not even taking into account all the indulgent food and late nights. But the plot thickens because sleep is the key to your body's rejuvenation and repair processes. It controls hunger and weight loss hormones, boosts energy levels, and contributes to almost every other vital function in your body. That's why I recommend taking magnesium, but not just any magnesium supplement. Magnesium Breakthrough by Bioptimizers. It contains all 7 forms of magnesium that your body needs to fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up energized and refreshed. To help you get your health back on track with the absolute best sleep possible, go to magbreakthrough.com/JPReacts to get your magnesium breakthrough. And while you're there, use the discount code JPReacts10 to get 10% off. Enjoy getting back on track.